Hey folks, my name's Jeremy Long. I am from Blue Cognitive. I am a relatively new developer, so when it comes to a lot of the foundational, the basics, I'm still trying to figure this stuff out for myself. One of the things that I found, at least from the web videos and tutorials online, is when it comes to building a basic vertical scroll view. Most of the tutorials or most of the videos online, they make a lot of assumptions about what you may or may not already know. So I'm taking this from a relatively new developer perspective, somebody who largely had to figure this out for themselves. So what I wanted to do today is kind of take you through a really short introduction to how I set up a new screen, single view screen for Scrollview. So here we go. All right, let's get our Xcode up. Let's build a new project and single view application. We'll call this Scrollview demo. Swift, universal, that's all fine. Yes, create. Okay, so now let's go to our view controller. Let's go to our main storyboard. Okay, so to start with, I am going to add a background image view. All right, let's just set this up for the full screen. And let's constrain it all the way around to the corners. Add the constraints, and then I am going to add a background image that I am using on another project that I have. So background. All right, let's go back to the storyboard, and the image I'm going to select is my landing background. Okay, so now I've got my background set up. Let's look at adding the scroll view. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is grab a scroll view. Okay, I'm just going to take it all the way to the top. So if you have a menu bar up here or navigation bar, you can pin it to the top of the bar. I'm just going, for the sake of demo purposes, all the way to the top of the screen. Okay, so now I'm going to take the scroll view, let's pin it all the way around. Constrain it all the way around. All right, add constraints. Now that we've got the scroll view, let's go ahead and add a UI view on top of it. So just a basic view. This is what's going to contain everything that we want, all the elements, labels, or fields. Okay, now I'm going to set the background for this as clear. Now here comes the tricky part. So first of all, you're going to want to constrain it all the way around, but you're going to want to manage a very specific height. And that height is going to be largely dependent on the content that you end up building into the page. So start with something that's big enough that you know it'll hold the content. And you can adjust this later. So let's start with 1,000. Okay. Now I'm going to go into the frame rectangle. I'm going to set the height to the same 1,000 that I just set. Okay. One more item, we have to manage the width. So to do that, we're going to constrain the width. So I right-click on View here, and I drag it to the view, the parent view, and now I set equal widths. And now you can see my auto layout is all completely resolved. Okay, so now you can also see that the content actually goes beyond the view that I'm looking at. So let's go back let's click on the overall view controller and look at the simulated size here. Let's change this to freeform, and let's set this to 1,000. Okay, so now I'm looking at the UIScrollView with the height of 1,000. So this is what I'm currently going to enable my scroll to look like. Okay, so now, just for continuing on to make sure that this works, and I'll show you too what it how to set your content, because there is a to continue to get everything to work and behave correctly. You do want to at least make sure that you're managing your content. Okay, so let's do. All right, I'm gonna put this over here. All right, so I've got a label. So let's copy the label down a few times down the page. And you can see I'm taking this all the way down to the bottom where I want to end. Okay, so now let's add the constraints. So for each of these labels, I'm going to pin it to the top, left, right, and I'm going to fix the height. So this is a fixed height label. I don't have to use a fixed height label. I can use a variable height. But just for this, fixing everything. Okay, so right here, let's do the same. A couple more times. Notice I'm not trying to be perfect, but okay, now this label, the lower element, I'm going to add fixed height, but I'm also going to constrain it to the bottom. So add 5, there we go. You can see my auto layout, everything is still clean. All right, now I can come back up here to my overall view controller. If, let's say I'm done. And I can go back to inferred. Sorry. So this is inferred from the screen height of the iPhone 7. Okay. So now let's run this in the simulator. Build succeeds. And okay, here we go. There's the page. Scrolls exactly as expected. I hope this was helpful. It certainly is for me. It helps me kind of document my process as I go through, and continue to repeat this across multiple pages that I use. So I have found this to be the simplest way to do it, and I hope it was helpful. Thanks a lot.